Hello, good Woche, everyone. It's Shabbos of Hashas Miketz. What a parsha! So many years I had such problem not crying while I was reading this parsha. With Yosef and his brothers, and he sees them, he gets so emotional that he has to go away and cry and come back, and it's like I had problems in keeping myself non-crying. Anyhow, Gewalt, Gewalt, Gewalt. We're talking today about the amazing dreams of Pare. The fact that Yosef become the king of Egypt. One of the things that is very meaningful in this week's parsha is the fact that you notice that in the house of Potiphar, where Yosef is when he's being sold as a slave, he comes in and he becomes basically the go-to guy in Potiphar's house. Potiphar makes him, the CEO of the Potiphar Enterprises. And it sort of like goes a little bit, as it were, into Yosef's head. He saw himself, being the big honcho in Potiphar's house. And he started, taking care, business suits, Henson, brogues, whatever it was, of those days. The Midrash says, because Baruch Hu says to him, your father is crying for you, and you are beautifying yourself, getting yourself, the right kind of tie, the right kind of jacket. What's going on here? Is I'm gonna, get the bear. I'm gonna set the bear on you, and there goes Potiphar's wife, her, whatever it is that was going on with her. Next thing is that Yosef ends up in jail. Okay. Interestingly enough, in jail, he's a prisoner. The commander of the jail takes Yosef and makes him basically the commander of the jail. He's the one that runs the jail. It's quite an unusual chain of events for somebody who just comes into jail and becomes a prisoner. Next thing, Pari calls Yosef. Yosef interprets Paro's dreams and tells him what needs to be done. Very interestingly, one of the things that Yosef says is, now Paro should see a person who is smart and wise and put him on top of Egypt. So you would expect that the next sentence would be, and let that, super manager, take all the foodstuffs of Egypt and store it and whatever it is. But that's not what the Chumash says. Chumash says Paro should go ahead and see to it that these things get done. The appointment of somebody who is wise and smart on top of Egypt, seemingly according to the Lashon of the Chumash, has nothing to do with running the hunger relief off Mitzrayim. Nevertheless, that's exactly what Paro does. He takes Yosef, and he makes him the viceroy, the CEO in Egypt. And he says, just the seat, the throne. I'm going to be bigger than you. But other than that, nobody in Egypt can lift a hand or a leg without you, without your permission. You see a certain pattern repeating itself. Wherever Yosef goes, he becomes the boss. He's running things. As you can see later on, to make sure that he recognizes his brothers and puts forth the plan that needs to be put forth by getting Am Yisrael to where they need to get and feeding them and everything. Yosef, who a mashbir, who a shalit v'lo mashbir, he is not just the ruler, but he is the one that actually dispenses with the food. So he can watch each and every one. There's no delegation over here. He doesn't delegate that job to anybody else. He's involved with everything. The point that I'm trying to make is that, when Rabbeinu HaKadosh said at a certain point in time, I looked at myself, and he was speaking with the Naftali and for other Talmidim. I looked upon myself, and I feel so inadequate, but whatever it is, I feel consoled somehow by the fact that I have brought some of you closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Upon which Rav Naftali says, absolutely. And he says, I can see that Reb Nosson, who was not there at the time, says Reb Nosson eventually will become that which at those times used to call a Gita Yid, a good Jew. A Gita Yid means a rabbi, means a tzaddik, like the Berditchever, like the Balatanya, like the Navali Melech, like this is what you call a Gita Yid. So Naftali says to Rabbeinu, says, I can see Reb Nosson eventually becoming Gita Yid. Rabbeinu's reaction is instantaneous. He says, this is what you say. I say he already is a Gita Yid. Reb Nosson is already a tzaddik. Now you're talking about Reb Nosson, he's 20 years old. Okay? First came to Rabbeinu was 19, 20. This is the time frame we're talking about. Reb Nosson lived, I believe, to be 64. You're talking about 44 years before the end of his life, in which he kept on going up and up and up and up. And Rabbeinu says, I'm sorry, about 20-year-old Nosson, he already is a tzaddik. So I remember speaking about about this to Reb Simcha Balev, my Rav. And he said to me, usually from a very early age, you can see who's who. In other words, obviously 20-year-old Reb Nosson is not 60-year-old Reb Nosson. There's no comparison with the Madrega that he has reached by the time, that. But nevertheless, Reb Nosson was Reb Nosson already from age 20 was when he was Rabbeinu, but he already served on the basin of Levi Yitzchak from Berditchev, the Kedushas Levi, already before. I think like 2 years before. And talking about 18, 19-year-old young man was part of the basin. The Berditchever would not sign a ksav that allowed an aguna, a woman whose husband is gone and there's no, she cannot marry anybody else. She's aguna, and Basin has to release her. Now, the Berditcheverov, to say that he had Ruach HaKodesh, Berditcheverov knew what was happening in Shemayim. He knew Alpi what it was asking already, Beth Shalmal, exactly what was the story with this woman. Nevertheless, it has not to do with our Shos Beis Din. He would not sign the release. It was based off this aguna in Beis Din without Reb Nosson being there and signing as well, which comes to show you what he was. The reason why I'm actually telling you this is not because of Reb Nosson. And it's not because of Yosef Tzaddik, but it's because of you. It is so easy to get frustrated with yourself, to see how you don't measure up. And the years pass, days, months, years pass, and you see you're no closer to being who you figure that you need to be than you ever were. And you feel broken. In fact, most people fall off from having the proper tunnel vision of Avodas Hashem because of that. Because they feel, listen, I'm not going to make it this is anyhow. I thought I would, but I'm not going to. And that's a mistake. The tunnel vision that we are talking about is different by every single person. Some people can do it, 100%, absolutely nothing except for that. We know that before Reb Nosson passed away, he gave over the Anhaga to Reb Nachman of Tulchin. At that time, Rabbi Naftali was still alive. Rabbi Naftali was together with Nosson, was one of the biggest Rebbe's Talmidim. So why did Reb Nosson gave the Anhaga to Reb Nachman of Tulchin? The answer is because Reb Naftali had 1 hour a day that he spent in a store doing something. That's all he did. The rest of the time, Avodas Hashem non-stop with every single breath. 1 hour a day, he was busy doing some kind of a masa matan. He was busy with some, I don't know exactly what he was doing. He was keeping books. I'm not sure what it is that he was doing. Reb Nosson knew that the anhaga of the Rebbe's Inyan has to be done by somebody who is totally dedicated to Avodas Hashem with nothing in between, nothing, zero. This is what Reb Nosson could do. This is what Nachman Tulchina could do, and a few other tzaddikim throughout the generations, in Breslov, outside of Breslov, anywhere. But the point is that if you are able to actually sit and be misyashev between you and yourself, like, who am I? What am I supposed to be by now? And how far I am from that? It would be a good time for you to sit down in yourself, between you and the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and reflect who you were when you were very young. The answer is, from the get-go, you were basically who you are today. You made some changes, Baruch Hashem, you grew, you have a lot to show for it, and so forth and so on, but basically you're the same person. So it's to say certain things that frustrate you over and over and over again, and you just like, you want to knock your head against the wall, like, why why not? Why not me? Why always me? I don't know. The answer is because this is who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu exactly from there. From where you are, from being who you are, just the way you are. You're not supposed to be Reb Levitz Berditchev, you're not supposed to be Reb Nachman Breslev, you're not supposed to be Reb Nosson of Breslev, you're not supposed to be Dolbavitch Rebbe, you're not supposed to be any one of those people. You're only supposed to be you, and if you take a look, you always were you. You always had the same problems, the same propensities, the same talents, the same pluses, the same minuses. It's fine. Take it from now and run with it. There's one thing Rabbeinu taught us, which is the most important thing, we will get to in Sichos Haran shortly, is the fact that Avodas Hashem is being simple. Being simple means you look at the Kodesh Baruch Hu and you say, Ribono Shel Olam, please bring me closer to you. That's it. Ribono Shel Olam, please bring me closer to tzaddikim, to all the tzaddikim, Bifrat Rabbeinu. Ribono Shel Olam, please help me learn. That's what you call tefillah. That's what you call hisbeidados. That's what you call, yeah. This is Yiddishkeit. Simple. Ribono Shel Olam, I want to serve you. Having problems, I have all kinds of stray thoughts, but whatever, each person, according to his old quivering bundle of needs, as it were. Okay. Shoot, simply, Ribono Shel Olam, please help me. Yeah, but where's the enthusiasm? Okay, that's what I have. You want enthusiasm? Ribono Shel Olam, please give me enthusiasm. We're supposed to be enthusiastic about asking for enthusiasm, says who? You're supposed to ask simply, Ribbono Shel Olam, I want to pay all my debts. Ribbono Shel Olam, I want to sort of like give closure to all the people that I have harmed and hurt in my life. But you're saying it's so deadpan, so without any no juice there, no need for juice. Shoot, that's called tmimus and pshitas. Shoot, what can you do? Can you now ask simply, Ribbono Shel Olam, bring me closer? Okay, Ribbono Shel Olam, please bring me closer. What about an hour's Beidadus? If you can, go ahead. If you can't, Ribbono Shel Olam, please bring me closer to you. It is when you understand that this is Avodas Hashem, because you are you, and you always were you, and you always will be you. The only thing that you need to do is just stop and say, wow, you know how many Shabbos I spent? To the best of my ability, yes. But you know how many times I ate kosher and did not eat treif, chas v'chalila? You know how many yom tovim? Baruch Hashem, I Shabbos. I'm walking with tzitzis. I put on tefillin every day. Gewalt. That's Yiddishkeit. We want a wow. We don't have a wow because we are who we are. If we were to understand that we always were who we are who we are, we always be who we are, everything else is gravy. It's fine. Let's take a quick look at the Baal Shem Tov. In one town, there was a Jew who was extremely wealthy. Was very mechobedik. Once said in shul that he took out a tabak box, silver box, and he, gave it over to all the people around. And there was a poor man sitting by the opening of the shul, by the college. He saw that the gvir, that this rich guy is giving his tobacco box over. He also came back to take a little bit, but that gvir just took the box back and just shut it. No, the poor man went back, not feeling like $1 million, to say the least. From that moment on, the muzzle of this rich man started going down, down, down. And the muzzle of that rich man, or the poor man, started going up. It wasn't a long time afterwards, that poor man, he became extremely rich. And that rich man became extremely poor until he started to go begging, which, by the way, is not a small thing. For a rich man that goes down to be able to do what he needs to do and go begging is a huge mile. There was such a story with Rabbeinu. The rich man came down. Rabbeinu told him you should go begging, and he would not. And the people said to Rabbeinu, do something for him. The poverty is killing him. Rabbeinu said, it's not poverty that's killing him. It's his gaiva, it's his pride that's killing him. So for this person to start begging is a big thing. No, and at that particular area, everybody remembered him as a rich man. So they would respect him, and they would give him, but more than they give to others. And himself, he joined a group of poor people. He went with them to the place that they went until they came to the town of Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov, the minhag was that the Gaba, he would give the beggars that came around, whatever it is that they would get without asking the Baal Shem Tov. But if a guest came there that required more than usual, the Gaba would ask the Baal Shem Tov how much to give him at that time. At that time, The Gaba gave them money. That ex-rich person came, he gave him like everybody. But this poor man, ex-rich man, would not take that. He said that every place he goes, he's getting more. The Gaba said he doesn't have a permission to give him more. So he said no, he insists on getting more. Well, the Gaba says, listen, in that case, I have to go ask the Baal Shem Tov. So he has to wait until he can get into the Baal Shem Tov and ask him, and so forth and so on. So the person waited, and the Gaba went to the Baal Shem Kodesh and came out. The game came out, wanted to give him a nice donation, and that person again would not receive it. He says he wants to see the Baal Shem Kodesh. When he got to the Baal Shem Tov, he told him how once he was a very rich person, and his mazel came down. And he asked him in Eitzos. The Baal Shem HaKodesh says, do you remember that incident with the tabak box that you clamped it just before the poor person had the chance of taking a little snuff? At that moment, Mishamayim, they paskin that everything that you own will go to that person, and everything, the poverty of that person will go to you. He says, you remember, Taka, his mazel started going down, things started going downhill. He says, what? He says, there's no other takana except that you should go ask him for some tabak, and he won't give you. Then all your wealth will come back to you. But if he's going to give you, the wealth cannot come back to you. Then Hashem will give him a good nasina, a good gift, nice gift, and he went away. So that rich person kept it in his heart, went back to his town, and that poor person who became wealthy was making a chasana for his daughter, invited everybody. So this ex-rich guy waited to the chasana time, and he came there and he sat together with the poor people. In the middle of the Suda, everybody started dancing. The father of the Kala came out to Wadim the Chotanim to dance on the tables. And this poor person, used to be rich, asked the father of the Kala, came to them. So the Kala's father asked, what do you want? He says, I'd like some snuff, shmektabik. So the father of the Kala stopped his dancing. He took the tabak box and he gave it to him. When that ex-rich person saw that, he fell down and he fainted. Well, the Kala, everybody got freaked out, calling Gatzola, I don't know. He asked him, what's the reason? What happened? So he told him that he became poor since he snapped shut his tobacco box, his snuff box, before this person, and then he became a beggar. And he told him what Baal Shem Tov told him. And there's no other way to reverse it unless he asked that person who used to be poor for tobacco, and if that person would refuse, he'll get his wealth back. So when that now rich person heard that, he says, if that's the case, you should no longer go around collecting money. As long as I am alive, you'll be alive as well. And he gave him money. He says, go bring you all the people of your house. He bought him a house. And every week he would give him whatever it is he needed for expenses. He held him. Amazing. You know, we see so many times in the Tanakh, and we see it in the Gemara. Yaakov says to Lavan, anybody that has your idols will not live amongst us, and because of that, Rachel passes away. This week's parsha, because the Shvatim, the brothers, tell Yosef, who they don't know who he is, Avdecho Avinu, your slave, our father. Yosef never said that their father is a slave. They said, and Yosef remained quiet, to keep his identity secret. Twice they said Avdecha Avinu. For that reason, Yosef passed away. I'm sorry, 3 times. For that reason, Yosef passed away 30 years before his father. I mean, this is 147. Yosef is 110. There is a story in the Gemara about, Rav and Shmuel, the big Amoraim, and Shmuel's father, Avud Shmuel, quite amazing stories in the Gemara about him. It was once, in those days, Jewish women were taken captive by a band of, I don't know what you call it, pirates, whatever. And what they would do, they knew that it was a mitzvah by the Jews, to retrieve them, to pay the ransom and take them back. So because of that, those bands of robbers, whatever, we usually would not touch the women, because they would know that if they touch the women, that they lower how much, the value of how much they can get from them. So there was once, the Gemara says the story about, there was once a story with a woman that she was by the robbers, and the father of Shmuel told his son Shmuel, put a guard, by that woman with the captors, to make sure that nothing happens to her. So Shmuel says, what's the point? I mean, if it didn't happen until now, it's not going to happen. If it's already happened, it happened. So the father of Shmuel says, if we're your daughters to become captive, would you like somebody to put a shomer on them or not? And the words that came out of his mouth, the Gemara says, Shgaga hayoitzes mepia shalit. It's a mistake that comes out of the mouth of the ruler. A word blurted out. Sure enough, the daughters of Shmuel were both taken captive. One daughter, Baruch Hashem, came to Eretz Yisrael. No, she came to Rabbi Yochanan, but whatever it is, she came in, and she came before everybody, for the captors, and she told the Rav, I don't remember who it was, and he told them, listen, I was taken captive, and I'm pure. I wasn't defiled. So he knew that's a door of Talmid Chacham. Because halacha is, if the captor comes, he says, I have these women, these Jewish women, I want you to ransom them, then it is being taken that, it's a chazaka that she was defiled. However, if she comes and she says that she was taken captive and she wasn't defiled, So Evalocha Pesha Osar, the mouth that forbade, but Pesha Heter, that's the mouth that released. We wouldn't have known before her that she'd be taken captive. So if we believe her that she was taken captive, we believe her that she wasn't defiled. So immediately he realizes that he's dealing with the daughter of a very, very chashuv Rav. However, the second daughter of of uh, of Shmuel, as she wasn't as lucky, and she had a son. As I think it's Ika Barisur Giula. Her son was an Amora. His father was a Gentile. His name was Isur, and he became a ger. Why? Because Shmuel's father blurted a word. If that were ever to happen to your daughters, would you like? Bam. How careful we should be. We are seen all the time. Baruch Hu sees what I see. Baruch Hu sees what I think. Baruch Hu listens to every single word I'm saying. Pay attention. Just pay attention to whatever it is you say, to whatever it is that you do. Let's take a quick look. B'ezrat Hashem. Sichos Haran for this week. Right? I see. Okay, because you guys have all black boxes. We cannot see you here. And here goes. This is Sicha 219. After Rabbeinu came from Lemberg, he lived for 2 more years. He would speak a lot about Emunah, and we understood from his words that whatever he was saying, everything he was saying, his entire kavanah was all in order to insert true Emunah in the heart of everyone from Israel. And he would mention it a few times, the amazing Tova that Moshe Rabbeinu did to us, that he gave us a Torah, and he began, Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'ta'aretz. The beginning, Hashem created heaven and the earth. He gave us the Emunah Kedosha without chokhmas, without chakiras, without theories, without sciences, without nothing. And Rabbeinu spoke down about a lot of Sifrei Mechakrim and philosophers. Rabbeinu was even very particular and very upset about Jewish philosophers, Jewish philosophy, Jewish chakiras. And Rabbeinu made fun of them. And he made it clear to us that they don't know anything. All these theories that they're espousing don't mean diddling. And he spoke about these sichos a lot. All kinds of shemes of chokhmah, true chokhmah, and every single dibur was sweeter than honey. And it went in deep, deep, deep into the heart of every single person. And we wrote about it already. It also says a lot. Many of them already were printed, but even 1 out of 1,000 wasn't printed. And it's also not possible to describe, the Dibur HaKodesh, the way it came out from the Rebbe Rabbeinu's holy mouth with Kedusha, with Tahara, Be'emo, Yira, Be'resis, Ve'zir, all the chen in the world. So anybody that was fortunate to speak with him, even, Divrei Chol, as it is understood from his words, in the end of the 2 years that he lived when he came from Lemberg, all his Diburim, everything he spoke about, Divrei Torah, Divrei Ba'alma, everything was to insert Emunah in the world. That's the Yesod, this foundation of all the Torah and all the mitzvahs. It says in Tehillim, Kol Tosecha Emunah. There's really nothing else to say except to understand that what we need to query, what we need to dig up, what we need to hoard is Emunah. Ask for Emunah. Ask in Emunah for Emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ask for Emunah in Olam Haba. Ask for Emunah Chava Onesh. Ask for Emunah Kadosh Baruch Hu is with me all the time. He sees what I'm thinking. He listens to what I'm saying. I should be cognizant because it's a factor of Emunah. Everything is a factor of Emunah. More Emunah and more Emunah and more Emunah. Because when you get Emunah, Emunah becomes so solid that you are able to see that which you previously believed in. And now you believe in higher things and loftier things. So you should always, always, always ask for things that either you don't yet believe or you believe, but if were you to be tested, you don't know. That's the main thing. The main thing is Emunah, Emunah's Chachamim, Emunah in the value of what you do, Emunah in the value of every single thing that you get to keep from the Torah. Every single word you get to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every single time that you manage to close your eyes from not seeing things you shouldn't. Have the value of every single time you are able to stop yourself from thinking, mischievous thoughts. There you got it. $10 word. Every single time. Every single time. It's all Apol Yetzer of Emunah. The more Emunah you have, the easier it is to make sure that you don't say things that you don't mean, that you don't want to face the consequences thereof and later on. Okay. Baruch Hashem, we're able to meet tonight. Motzei Shabbos, we're after Chanukah. How Bezat Hashem, perhaps to start some other shurim in the middle of the week. Since we came to Uman, I didn't really get on the ball with them, but I think it's time to either make different shurim or, renew the shurim of old. But Hashem, I want to wish each and every one of you a great week and a great month.
Thank you.
And a big simcha, a lot of simcha to all of us.